I just got finished watching the Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Browne Gloves Are Off on Sky. So I'm going to give you my thoughts on it. But before I do, I have to tell you that HBO have actually picked up the Dillian Whyte Lucas Browne fight, which is interesting. HBO showing an interest in British heavyweights outside of Anthony Joshua for once. And this will be aired on HBO's Boxing After Dark. So yeah, interesting. I believe, yeah, it's going to go live from what it says here. Interesting. Now, as far as the gloves are off, it wasn't as explosive as a lot of people would have hoped, but it was still fairly interesting. Some people are saying Dillian Whyte looked scared, that he wouldn't look Lucas Browne in the eye, and all kind of stuff like that. Dillian Whyte has been in there against Anthony Joshua. He's been in there against Robert Helenius. He's been in there against Derek Chisora. He's been in there with lots of experienced guys who have fought at a higher level than Lucas Browne for a long time. So whether he looks Lucas Browne in the eye, at the table, at the gloves are off or not, I don't think it makes any difference. He's fought better fighters than Lucas Browne. Obviously, Anthony Joshua was better than Lucas Browne. Dillian Whyte's been in the ring with him. And he gave Joshua his second toughest fight after Klitschko. You really think he's going to be intimidated by Lucas Browne? He's the one who pushed for this fight. Why is he going to push for the fight and be intimidated by the guy? I'm telling you, Dillian Whyte is not the least bit intimidated by Lucas Browne. Dillian Whyte might actually end up underestimating Lucas Browne. You know, he might end up being slightly overconfident. I'm not saying he will, but I'm saying that there's more of a chance of him being overconfident against Browne than not being confident enough and doubting himself and being intimidated by Browne. I don't think he's the least bit intimidated by him. That's just my view. And the gloves are off to me was just, yeah, a little bit anticlimactic. Dillian Whyte brought up the failed PED tests for Lucas Browne and tried to push a few buttons here and there. He butted in to Lucas Browne a few times when Browne was talking. Browne, for the most part, was very polite and cordial and was playing Mr. Nice Guy. He didn't really want to get too agitated or say anything too controversial. He was keeping it all PC. But Lucas Browne certainly has that killer instinct. We all know that. We've all seen what he's like when he gets in the ring. He starts swinging for the fences at times and, you know, he'll put you to sleep if he catches you clean. So, yeah, it was the calm before the storm, as far as I'm concerned, that gloves are off. And for me, not too much can be read into it. One thing I will say, which is interesting, is I watched Derek Chisora and Lucas Browne do a joint interview on IFL. And in this joint interview, Derek Chisora said that one of the pieces of advice that he would give Lucas Browne is to try and frustrate Dillian Whyte. I'm paraphrasing, but this is basically what he said. To try and frustrate Dillian Whyte and then get Dillian Whyte to turn it into a scrap. And when Dillian Whyte tries to turn it into a scrap and overextends himself, that plays into Lucas Browne's hands and then he can knock Dillian Whyte out. So that to me was maybe a little bit of a revelation of the game plan. That Lucas Browne is going to actually attempt to box a little bit against Dillian Whyte and frustrate him. And Lucas Browne even alluded to that in the gloves are off, where he said he thinks the first few rounds of the fight are going to be a bit cagey. So yeah, I think he's going to try it. Well, it seems, anyway, based on what he said and based on what Chisora said, that Browne may try and box Dillian Whyte early, frustrate Dillian Whyte, get him to, well, Derek Chisora actually said, what you need to do, Lucas, is turn it into a boxing match, wait for the crowd to start booing, and then Dillian Whyte will feel pressure because the crowd are booing. That's going to get to him and he's going to think, I need to do something to make it an exciting fight. And when he does that, he's going to give you opportunities to land on him because he's going to make mistakes. He's going to try and force the fight. So yeah, interesting. And we'll see if those kind of tactics actually work for one. and we'll see whether Dillian Whyte takes the bait. Dillian Whyte normally doesn't fight the most disciplined fight for 12 rounds. Occasionally he has. Against Dave Allen and Ian Lewison, he fought a disciplined fight both times. But on other occasions, he's got involved when maybe he shouldn't have. The Robert Helenius fight, which was his last fight, was a good example of where early in the fight, he got himself caught and got himself quite badly hurt, rather than keeping it conservative. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. It was, to me, an interesting gloves are off without being compelling, because, as I say, I think potentially Browne maybe revealed a little bit of his game plan. I'm not sure if Browne can have that much success at long range against Dillian Whyte boxing. I'm not sure. Again, it depends on how Dillian Whyte chooses to box. Lucas Browne, if he's moving, how well can he move at the weight that he weighs? And he's not a big, tall guy like Helenius. He's around the same height as Dillian Whyte is. So, I don't know. I think that Helenius' height combined with his movement are what gave Dillian Whyte problems in terms of setting himself to get punches off. Is Lucas Browne going to try and emulate what Robert Helenius did? Maybe he will. But I don't think he has the tools to be able to emulate what Helenius did as effectively. So I think Dillian Whyte will be able to get to Lucas Browne if he decides to box that way. I think he'll be able to get to Lucas Browne a lot easier than he got to Helenius. But at the same time, I think Lucas Browne has got a lot more fire in his belly than Robert Helenius. So he'll be more dangerous in that sense. Maybe not dangerous from a technical point of view, but dangerous from a mental point of view, whereby he won't capitulate mentally the way that Helenius did, or as easily as Helenius did. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the gloves are off. Dillian Whyte versus Lucas Browne. Interesting, but it didn't really catch fire the way a lot of people had hoped it might. I'm definitely looking forward to the fight though. So let me know how you feel in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.